I smell of the sea.
Gloves off, stick down, no warning. He challenged the chiefs.
Call us names.
Call us names.
Greetings, my friend.
Oh, hi there. My name is Prostetnic Vogon Jeffs, and I have a question for you. What do you get when you combine Eraserhead with Jacob's Ladder, add a dash of maritime shenanigans, and sprinkle in some Lovecraftian madness? No, it's a rhetorical question. They already know where I'm going with this. What? Oh, I don't know, because the title of the video already... Now, I get it. Canonically, I'm not supposed to be able to understand anything you say. I honestly can't keep track of the lore. It's inconsistent at best, and I'm totally okay with that. Lazy? Maybe. Probably. Listen, I'm flying by the seat of my pants with these videos. You want consistent? Fine. We'll go back to me not being able to understand your stock audio bear noises. Will that make you happy? Oh, how dare you!
To 4 weeks.
Right, where were we? Oh yeah, The Lighthouse. This video is about the 2019 surrealist maritime comedy horror film, The Lighthouse. Directed by Robert Eggers and written by Robert and his brother Max, it's the story of two lighthouse keepers, played by Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, trapped on a remote island off the coast of New England. No, for sure. Something just doesn't feel right about this. What if we tried something like this? Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, how about a bit of this? Well, it's not permanent. I think you can deal with it for one video, you testy bitch. Alright. At some point in the late 19th century, two men arrive on a remote island to relieve the lighthouse keepers and begin their own 4-week stint. Ephraim, a rookie wickie, is supervised by Thomas, a superstitious and flatulent former sailor. Upon settling in their quarters, Ephraim finds a carving of a mermaid buried within his mattress and tucks it away in his jacket. The inexperienced wickie is a stickler for the rules, which immediately puts him at odds with his alcoholic co-worker.
Bad luck to leave a toast unfinished, lad.
Well, meaning no disrespect.
Technically, the two men are supposed to take turns tending to the lighthouse lantern, but Thomas is quick to put Ephraim in his place.
Well, I expect him to get up to see the lantern.
I can delight. See to your duties. The light is mine.
If anyone is going to strip naked in front of the light, it's going to be Thomas. Ephraim immediately begins hallucinating or dreaming or something of the like. As the viewer, this is where it becomes evident that we can't trust anything we're seeing. Ephraim, the protagonist of the story, is an unreliable narrator. He sees logs floating into shore along with a dead body, and images of a swimming mermaid. Are these things that he is seeing? Are these things that he is dreaming? He wakes up and it would seem to be the latter, but it all bleeds together. Where does the dream begin? Ephraim begins his duties for the day by cleaning the cistern and fixing roof shingles, at which point he catches his fellow wickie humping mattress. Awkward! So he moves on to his other duties but is impeded by a one-eyed seagull. After lugging a massive can of oil to the top of the lighthouse, Ephraim tries to take a look at the lantern but is stopped by Thomas.
You don't go in there.
Who keeps the top level locked. Later that night, Thomas encourages his young co-worker to engage in conversation.
Doldrums. Doldrums. Eviler than the devil.
Ephraim asks about Thomas's previous partner, who apparently went mad. He believed that there was some enchantment in the light.
Salvation, said he.
The meal comes to an abrupt end when Thomas warns Ephraim against sparring with a seabird. He believes gulls to be reincarnated sailors and worthy of respect.
More tall tales.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
The one-eyed seabird visits Ephraim during the night, and stepping outside for a smoke, the young wickie notices Thomas standing buck naked in front of the lighthouse lantern. The following days prove difficult for Ephraim. He's forced to do virtually all of the manual labor, all of the dirty work like transporting and shoveling coal for the furnace, painting the lighthouse, and so on. After 2 weeks on the island, he and Thomas begin opening up to each other. Ephraim reveals his name and how he used to work timber for the Hudson's Bay Company up in Canada. Thomas explains how his marriage fell apart.
13 Christmases at sea. Little ones at home. She never forgave it.
And how he lost the proper use of his right leg.
Somebody's daddy's missing a leg.
Ephraim continues his duties and Thomas writes notes in a logbook he keeps locked away. The day before he is scheduled to leave the island, Ephraim discovers the cistern has been tainted by a dead gull. And while checking the water, the one-eyed gull loses its shit and starts attacking him. Ephraim grabs the seabird by the neck and thrashes it against the cistern mercilessly, at which point the wind changes direction, ushering in a wild storm and—
Did somebody call? My ears are burning.
No, f*** off out of here.
You're so rude.
That night, the Wickies enjoy a lobster dinner and Thomas convinces Ephraim to get drunk with him.
And I won't take no for an answer.
Well, to relief.
And now,
Up until this point, Ephraim didn't know his partner's name, and he's a bit taken aback when it's revealed to be Thomas. They continue drinking and pass out at some point in the night. The next morning, as they await the arrival of the Lighthouse tender, the supply ship, Ephraim continues his duties, emptying the chamber pots and transporting coal. He's shocked to discover the body of a beached mermaid, who wakes as he investigates and sends him screaming back to the lighthouse. The tender never arrives. The storm is too heavy and fierce for the ship to make its rounds, and the two Wickies are left stranded for another day. Thomas discovers that their rations have been spoiled by the storm, and an argument ensues. Ephraim is dismissive because he believes that the tender is only a day late. Unfortunately, this doesn't appear to be the case. Thomas tells him that they've been stranded on the island for weeks.
What?
what do you mean about weeks? Weeks, aye, weeks.
And that it could be months before the storm lets up.
This ain't funny.
No, it ain't. And I ain't wanting to be stranded here with some damn lunatic.
In desperation, Thomas and Ephraim dig up a crate of reserve rations at the base of the lighthouse, which turns out to be a stockpile of booze. The pair get liquored up, and Ephraim begins to notice inconsistencies in Thomas's tales, like how he got his lame leg.
What's that scurvy? What left me locked ever since?
I thought you said you broke it.
You must have misheard.
And the young lighthouse keeper descends further into madness. He steals a kitchen knife and tries, unsuccessfully, to pick the lock to the lighthouse lantern. And in desperation, he even contemplates killing Thomas and taking his keys. Instead, he continues his duties while getting hammered and jerking it to his mermaid carving.
2 minutes by yourself and you feel shame, you know.
Desperate times, I suppose. He fantasizes about the beached mermaid while intrusive thoughts of a past encounter with an unknown man spoil the moment. To top things off, Ephraim hauls in a lobster trap and finds the one-eyed head of Thomas's previous partner. In a rage, Ephraim throws his mermaid carving to the ground and shatters it. Making the most of their liquor stockpile, the two lighthouse keepers get drunk again and Ephraim spills his beans.
Thomas taught me.
He confesses that his real name isn't Ephraim Winslow, it's actually Thomas Howard. Ephraim Winslow was the name of his former boss, his foreman while working as a logger up in Canada.
The log driver's waltz pleases girls completely.
He was a real piece of shit. Thomas Howard, the guy we've been calling Ephraim. Jeez, this might get confusing. Okay, we're just going to call him Howard moving forward. Howard explains how his POS boss drowned during a log drive. Howard hated him so much that he let the guy drown.
You shouted up and I just stood there.
And then stole his identity. And then hightailed it out of Canada to become a lighthouse keeper. Totally something you would do. I mean, there's no way Howard killed Winslow.
I didn't. I did not.
There's no way, I tells ya. Now, I'm not even sure this confession is real because Thomas isn't in the room. Howard immediately transitions to a dreamlike state where he can hear the Elder Wiki's condemnation, and then finds another version of himself atop the lighthouse, and Jesus H. Murphy, now Thomas is naked and shooting beams of light from his eyes, and what the absolute f*** is going on here? Howard tries to leave the island on a lifeboat, but he's followed by Thomas, who chops it to shit with an axe. The manic young Wickie is chased back to the cottage where Thomas explains that it was Howard who chopped up the boat, directly contradicting what we just saw with our own eyes.
We were all there. We all saw it with our own eyes.
And then Thomas reveals they're out of liquor. So, the lighthouse keepers get drunk on turpentine and honey as the cottage is engulfed in water. In the aftermath of the storm, Howard finds Thomas's logbook and confronts him about a number of entries that he believes to be untrue.
Recommend severance without pay.
Thomas more or less calls him worthless and in need of a dismissing. Howard argues against what Thomas has written, but the Elder Wiki puts it plainly.
I work as hard as any man.
You lied to yourself, but you ain't had the sauce to see it.
And Howard just kind of accepts it. He then resorts to begging his more experienced counterpart for access to the lantern. When Thomas refuses and calls out Howard for dooming them by killing the seagull,
Will you kill me like you done that gold?
I did!
Liar! You murdering dog!
a fight breaks out and the Elder Lighthouse Keeper is nearly beaten to death.
Ain't you never been to sea before? Back, I said, back!
Howard makes him act like a dog and leads him to the hole behind the lighthouse where he proceeds to bury him alive. After retrieving the keys for the lantern, Howard pauses to catch his breath and suck back a smoke, at which point Thomas rushes back into the house for a final jealous attempt at preventing Howard from reaching the light.
The light belongs to me!
Ascending the lighthouse, Howard finally makes it to the lantern and gazes upon the light, screaming in agony. He falls back, collapsing and tumbling down the lighthouse stairs. Cut to Howard, laying nude on a rocky shore and being torn apart by seagulls. The end. Some movies are purely surface level. Subtext is non-existent, there's no ulterior motive from the writer or director, character names mean nothing, etc. and so on.
Same old boring story, eh?
There's nothing wrong with these kinds of stories, but they aren't particularly taxing to their audience. They are meant to be ingested in a single sitting without the need for reflection or dissection. The Lighthouse is not that kind of movie. It's an allegorical story layered with hidden meaning. On its surface, it's the story of two lighthouse wikis. It's the story of two men trapped on a small island. It's about identity and isolation and madness. But is it? I mean, let's be honest here. Anyone who watches this movie and says that it just is what it is, that it should be taken at surface level, is a grade A f***ing moron. The whole thing is a giant metaphor loaded with symbolism and meaning. Now, we can enjoy the movie on a surface level, nothing wrong with that, and we can debate about meaning and intention. That's one of the true joys of ambiguous storytelling. There is no right or wrong answer.
Is the answer Jesus?
But to say that The Lighthouse is just the story of two stranded lighthouse keepers is beyond retarded. There are a few theories floating around about this movie. The first is that Thomas and Tom are the same person, which aligns with one of the core themes of the movie, the theme of identity. The fact that both men are named Tom, both are seemingly responsible for the death of a former coworker, yet unwilling to admit it. Both have questionable work ethics.
That's the trouble with ye. With you! No! No!
And then add to that the fact that both men have an ethereal, almost omniscient knowledge of each other, particularly the elder Tom, who knows when his younger counterpart is lying to him.
I mopped and swept twice over.
You lying dog.
Knows that he is responsible for Ephraim Winslow's death. That's what the shot in Act 3 is all about. Thomas standing naked above Howard, shining his lantern eyes into the young Wiki's face. It's symbolic. It's meant to illustrate how Thomas has an intimate knowledge of his young partner, of his younger self. He is the lighthouse. He sees the truth within Howard. And Howard, despite his initial lies, always accepts the condemnations from Thomas. He knows he's right. You can't hide the truth from yourself.
I know what you done. I know what you done.
You killed a second.
The second theory I've seen regarding the lighthouse is that it's all a dream, that the only true moment of reality is the final shot of the film. And as much as I hate these kinds of endings, because let's be real here, they are pure bullshit, I think this theory is somewhat true. But I don't think it's as simple as, it was all a dream.
Nobody has a real lock on any of this, so I don't know how it all times out.
For one, there's no indication that Thomas Howard is waking from a dream at the end of the movie. He's alive. He's being eaten alive by gulls. He is being punished for his transgressions. When Thomas Wake is being buried alive, he warns Howard of a Promethean punishment for his actions.
You'll be punished!
For those unfamiliar with ancient Greek mythology, Prometheus was punished by Zeus for stealing fire from Olympus and giving it to humanity. Zeus condemned Prometheus to eternal torment. He was bound to a rock where an eagle would consume his liver in a never-ending cycle. Which brings me to my theory. It's a sort of maritime purgatory. Thomas Howard is brought to the island. Thomas Wake accompanies him, perhaps as an external judge or even as a representation of his older self passing judgment on the transgressions of his youth. But regardless, Thomas Wake logs all of his younger partner's failings. He knows about the knife, he knows about the gull, he knows about Ephraim Winslow. He blames the actions of his younger self for damning them both.
'Twas ye what changed the wind on us. 'Twas ye what damned us, dog. 'Twas ye.
And he even alludes to the illusion of it all by suggesting that the whole thing might be in Howard's head.
I'm probably a figment of your imagination. This rock is a figment of your imagination too.
Purgatory is the state of those who die in God's friendship, assured of their eternal salvation, but who still have need of purification to enter into the happiness of heaven. Howard begs to be led into the light.
Just let me into that lantern, that's all. Don't make me beg, or I'll beg.
There's a part of him that believes it leads to salvation.
Forgive and forget, I said.
Thomas refuses because Howard hasn't atoned. He isn't even capable of accepting the truth. He doesn't deserve the light. And while I don't believe this is a traditional purgatory, I think there are too many religious references in the movie for this story to not have anything to do with judgment and the afterlife. I haven't even covered the significance of the names in this movie, like Thomas for starters. It means twin in Aramaic. Thomas was one of Jesus' 12 apostles. And wake, which has 3 relevant meanings: to wake up, to become aware of, and to hold a vigil for someone who has died. Ephraim is also rife with connotations to the story. There are tons of religious references within the movie, so much so that it would be baffling to hear someone suggest that it doesn't have something to do with the afterlife.
I'm God-fearing, if that's what you're asking.
I love The Lighthouse. I'm not a religious dude, so that really doesn't have anything to do with it. I am, however, a huge fan of layered stories that inject mythology in fresh and interesting ways.
Bravo, bravo, everyone. Long live the theater.
From a technical standpoint, the movie is beautiful. Mesmerizing cinematography, a logical use of aspect ratio to create a sense of claustrophobia and isolation, fantastic character development and methodical pacing. It's artsy and surreal, but also polished and professional. And the whole thing invites repeat viewings and encourages debate. The icing on the cake are the performances. I think Pattinson did a great, if occasionally flawed, job. The only reason I noticed any inconsistencies with his performance was because of Dafoe.
I hear what you're saying, but I think you misjudged the guy.
Unquestionably brilliant, one of his best characters, one of his all-time best performances.
I seen it. You're fond of me lobster.
Even if you hate every other aspect of the movie, it's still worth watching just for Dafoe's surly wiki. Personally, I wish we had more movies like this, movies that demand your attention. This isn't some second screen, throw it on in the background kind of flick. This isn't throwaway streaming garbage.
Goddamn farts! You goddamn farts!
This is the definition of an engaging story.
Don't deny it.
A shining example of what the art form has to offer. Truly a must-watch movie for any movie lover. Oh, God damn it, dude, that's my line.
You know this one? That's my thing. I'm really doing this to everybody.
Now I'm free. Now I'm free from your designs.